It was an ordinary Tuesday afternoon in a quiet suburban neighborhood, where children's laughter usually filled the air as they returned from school. The gentle autumn breeze carried fallen leaves across well-maintained lawns, and parents chatted casually on their front porches, keeping watchful eyes on their little ones playing nearby. Among these children was a 12-year-old boy who lived on Cedar Street. Unlike his friends who rushed home to play video games, he had developed a habit of observing his surroundings, something his grandfather, a retired police officer, had taught him. "Always be aware of what's happening around you," his grandfather would say, "because you never know when someone might need help." That day, the boy was walking home from baseball practice, his bat bag slung over his shoulder, when something caught his attention. A few blocks ahead, near the local elementary school, he noticed a small girl with a pink backpack. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old, and something about the scene made his stomach turn. A stranger in a dark jacket was approaching her, speaking in what appeared to be a friendly manner, but the boy could sense something was wrong. His grandfather's words echoed in his mind as he watched the stranger point to something in the distance, trying to convince the little girl to come closer. The boy remembered the safety assemblies at school, where they learned about stranger danger and the tactics that ill-intentioned adults might use to lure children. Without hesitation, he pulled out his phone and started recording, just as he'd learned in a safety class. He noticed how the stranger kept looking around nervously, another red flag his grandfather had warned him about. The man was now showing the girl something on his phone, and she had taken a small step toward him. The boy's heart raced as he realized he needed to act quickly. He remembered his teacher's words, "If you see something suspicious, alert trusted adults immediately." Looking around, he spotted Mrs. Thompson, the crossing guard who had worked at the school for over 2 decades, standing at her usual post about 50 feet away. With his phone still recording, he called out loudly, "Hey! Is everything okay over there?" His voice carried across the street, causing several heads to turn. The stranger, startled by the sudden attention, took a step back. Mrs. Thompson, alerted by the boy's call, began walking briskly toward them. The little girl, seeming to sense the tension, quickly backed away from the stranger. The man, now aware of the growing attention, hurriedly walked to a parked car nearby. The boy's quick thinking had already set in motion a chain of events that would prove crucial in the minutes to follow. He continued recording as the car pulled away, making sure to capture the license plate number. Mrs. Thompson had reached them by now, and other parents who had noticed the commotion were approaching. The little girl, trembling slightly, clutched her pink backpack tightly. As Mrs. Thompson comforted the frightened child, the boy shared the video with her and explained what he had witnessed. His grandfather's lessons about staying calm in emergencies helped him provide clear, detailed information. Within minutes, the school principal was notified, and the police were called. The video the boy had captured would prove invaluable. It clearly showed the stranger's face, his actions, and most importantly, the license plate of his vehicle. The local police would later credit this evidence as crucial in their investigation. News of the incident spread quickly through the community. Parents hugged their children tighter that evening, grateful for the young hero's quick thinking and courage. The boy's actions had likely prevented what could have been a tragic outcome. In the days that followed, the boy's story would serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of community vigilance and the impact one person's awareness can have. His baseball teammates started calling him their everyday hero, though he insisted he had simply done what anyone should do. The incident sparked important conversations in homes and classrooms throughout the neighborhood. Parents and teachers used this example to reinforce safety lessons, while children learned that even someone their age could make a crucial difference in keeping their community safe. Local law enforcement would later reveal that the stranger had been wanted in connection with similar attempts in nearby towns. Thanks to the boy's quick thinking and careful observation, they now had solid evidence to work with. The community had a new understanding of how ordinary moments could turn extraordinary when someone chose to pay attention and take action. As evening settled over the neighborhood that fateful Tuesday, the story was far from over. The boy sat in the local police station with his parents, his baseball bat bag still by his side. The detective's office was warm and surprisingly welcoming, with children's artwork pinned to a bulletin board, thank you notes from previous cases where young lives had been touched by the department's work. The boy's mother kept her arm around his shoulders as he carefully recounted every detail he could remember. His father, usually quiet and reserved, couldn't hide his pride as his son described how he'd remembered to record the incident on his phone. The detective, a kind-faced woman with graying hair at her temples, nodded approvingly as she reviewed the video for the third time. "You've done everything exactly right," she explained, pointing to specific moments in the footage. "See how you captured not just the car, but the way he approached? That's going to be invaluable." She paused the video and zoomed in on a particular frame. "And look here, you even got a clear shot of a distinctive sticker on the car's rear window. Details like these can break a case wide open." Back home, word had spread through social media and local news channels. The boy's grandfather, who had taught him so much about staying alert and protecting others, drove 3 hours through the night to be with his family. As he embraced his grandson, tears glistened in the old police veteran's eyes. "You know," the grandfather said, settling into his favorite storytelling mode, "in all my years on the force, I learned that heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes they carry baseball bats and have homework waiting in their backpacks." The boy couldn't help but smile, even as he processed the weight of what had happened. That night, as neighbors gathered for an impromptu community meeting at the local elementary school gymnasium, the incident sparked a larger conversation. Parents shared their fears and concerns, but also their determination to strengthen their community watch program. The school principal announced immediate plans to enhance security measures and refresh safety education programs. The little girl's parents, still shaken but immensely grateful, shared their perspective. Her mother's voice trembled as she described how her daughter had always been taught about stranger danger, but how quickly and smoothly the potential abductor had almost gained her trust. "He showed her pictures of a lost puppy," she revealed, causing a collective gasp from the assembled parents. If it hadn't been for one brave boy's intervention. The police department's child safety expert took the opportunity to update the community's understanding of modern predator tactics. These days, abductors often use technology, phones, tablets, even gaming devices, to lure children, she explained. That's why it's so important that this young man not only recognize the danger but use technology right back, recording everything on his phone. Meanwhile, the boy's video had helped police identify the suspect through the vehicle registration. They discovered the man had a history of similar attempts in other states, having carefully moved from area to avoid detection. The distinctive sticker the boy had captured in his video, advertising a now-defunct local business, had provided the crucial link investigators needed. The following days saw increased police presence around schools and parks throughout the region. Parents organized walking groups for children, and older students volunteered to become safety monitors during recess and after school. The boys' baseball team even dedicated their next game to promoting child safety awareness, wearing special armbands with reflective strips that could be seen from a distance. Local businesses joined the effort, offering free self-defense classes for children and parents. The hardware store donated motion sensor lights to families living near schools and parks. A tech company provided an emergency alert app to all students in the district, inspired by the boys. Quick thinking with his phone. The boy's grandfather, drawing on his years of experience, helped develop a new safety curriculum for the school district. It emphasized not just stranger danger, but also the importance of community involvement and the responsible use of technology for personal safety. "My grandson showed us that even the youngest members of our community can be guardians," he told the school board. As the investigation progressed, more details emerged about how close the community had come to tragedy. The suspect had been methodically planning his attempts, studying school schedules and identifying vulnerable moments in children's daily routines. The boy's intervention hadn't just saved one potential victim, it had disrupted a pattern that could have affected many more families. The local newspaper ran a feature story about community heroes, carefully protecting the privacy of both the boy and the little girl while highlighting the broader lessons of the incident. The article emphasized how traditional safety lessons taught by grandparents, combined with modern technology and youthful awareness, had created a perfect storm of protection. The boy remained humble throughout the attention, often deflecting praise by highlighting how everyone in the community had a role to play in keeping each other safe. "I just hope other kids remember to trust their instincts," he told his grandfather one evening. "Sometimes the most important thing is just paying attention and being brave enough to speak up." As the investigation entered its third day, the ripple effects of the boy's quick thinking continued to spread through the community and beyond. The police department's cyber crimes unit had traced the suspect's digital footprint, uncovering a sophisticated pattern of social media activity targeting school zones across 3 different states. The boy's video evidence had opened a door that investigators had been trying to unlock for months. The suspect's vehicle, captured so clearly in the footage, matched descriptions from other reported incidents, but no one had managed to get such clear documentation before. The distinctive sticker, which showed a cartoon palm tree from a closed local water park, became the key that connected several unsolved cases. At school, the boy noticed changes in how his classmates treated him. There was a new kind of respect in their eyes, but what touched him most was how they began looking out for each other more. Older students started walking younger ones to their buses. Friend groups expanded to include kids who usually sat alone at lunch. The spirit of protection and community he had sparked was taking on a life of its own. His baseball coach dedicated their practice sessions to more than just improving their game. Between drills, he talked to the team about awareness and responsibility. "Being strong isn't just about how far you can hit the ball," the coach explained, glancing proudly at his young player who had shown such courage. "It's about being strong enough to stand up when something doesn't feel right." The little girl's recovery became a story of resilience. With support from child psychologists and her family, she began sharing her experience with other children in supervised sessions. Her simple message resonated deeply: it's okay to say no to grown-ups when something feels scary. She drew pictures of her guardian angel, the boy with the baseball bat who had spotted the danger and spoken up. Local business owners began implementing changes of their own. The ice cream shop installed better outdoor lighting and security cameras. The bookstore created a safe space program where children could come in and ask for help if they felt unsafe. Even the local park underwent renovations to improve visibility and add emergency call boxes. The boy's grandfather, seeing how his lifetime of safety lessons had borne fruit, started a mentoring program. He connected retired police officers with youth groups, sharing real-world experience and wisdom with a new generation. "Sometimes," he would say, "the best way to protect our future is to share what we've learned from our past." National news outlets picked up the story, not for its sensational aspects, but for its message of community empowerment. Child safety experts praised the comprehensive response, how one brave action had catalyzed an entire community into creating better safety networks. They highlighted how modern technology, used responsibly, could help keep children safe. The police investigation revealed something unexpected: the suspect had been maintaining a detailed journal of his activities. In it, they found evidence that he had been observing the school zone for weeks, learning patterns and routines. The boy's intervention hadn't just prevented one incident, it had disrupted a carefully planned series of attempts. Schools across the state began implementing what they called the Guardian Program, inspired by the incident. It encouraged students to be aware of their surroundings and provided clear guidelines for reporting suspicious activity. The program emphasized the importance of using technology responsibly and staying connected with trusted adults. The boy's parents noticed subtle changes in their son. He seemed more thoughtful, more aware of his potential to make a difference. One evening, as they sat on their porch watching younger children play under the newly installed street lights, he shared something profound. "You know," he said, "I always thought heroes had to do big, dramatic things. But sometimes being a hero is just about paying attention and caring enough to act." Local artists painted a mural on the school playground wall, depicting children helping and protecting each other. They intentionally made the figures abstract, not representing any specific child, but rather the spirit of community guardianship that had emerged. The boy often paused to look at it during recess, feeling a quiet pride in how his community had grown stronger. The investigation's progress brought unexpected closure to other families. As news spread, parents from neighboring towns came forward with similar stories. The evidence collected from the boy's video helped authorities connect cases that had previously seemed unrelated. The suspect's distinctive methods, once exposed, became a teaching tool for law enforcement agencies nationwide. The little girl's father, a software developer, was inspired to create a child safety app. It incorporated lessons learned from the incident, featuring quick recording capabilities, location sharing with trusted adults, and emergency alerts. He consulted with both the boy and his grandfather during development, combining youthful insight with seasoned experience. As autumn turned to winter, the community's response to the incident evolved into lasting change. The initial shock and fear had transformed into determined action and stronger connections. New families moving into the neighborhood found themselves welcomed into an unusually tight-knit community, one where children looked out for each other and adults remained vigilantly protective without being paranoid. The winter brought new developments in the case that had changed a community. 2 weeks after the incident, investigators announced a breakthrough that sent ripples through multiple states. The suspect's captured license plate had led them to uncover a network of similar attempts, all carefully documented in digital files found on seized devices. In the boy's household, life had found a new rhythm. His grandfather had decided to stay in town indefinitely, renting a small apartment nearby. Together, they began hosting weekend safety workshops in their garage, teaching local kids about awareness and self-defense in age-appropriate ways. The sessions always ended with hot chocolate and stories, creating a warm, supportive environment where children felt comfortable asking questions. The little girl's recovery continued to inspire others. Her art therapy sessions produced drawings that her parents, with her permission, shared with child psychologists. These drawings became valuable tools in helping other children process and talk about their own fears. One particular drawing, showing a community of stick figures holding hands in a protective circle, became the symbol of their neighborhood watch program. At school, the principal implemented what became known as the buddy bench system. Inspired by the boys' observation skills, they placed special benches around the playground where students could sit if they felt lonely or unsafe. Other students were encouraged to approach these benches and offer friendship or assistance, creating a peer support network that worked remarkably well. The police department's investigation revealed something that reinforced the importance of the boys' quick action. Digital forensics showed that the suspect had been using sophisticated mapping software to track school bus routes and identify areas where children might be vulnerable. His detailed planning made the boys' spontaneous intervention even more remarkable. Local businesses continued their support of community safety initiatives. The hardware store owner, inspired by the incident, developed a safe house program. Participating businesses displayed special symbols in their windows, indicating they were trained safe spaces where children could seek help if they felt threatened. The program spread to neighboring towns, creating a network of safe havens. The boys' baseball team had their most successful season ever, but not just in terms of wins and losses. They became known as the team that looked out for others, often staying after games to walk younger siblings to their cars or helping to organize community safety events. Their team motto changed to "more than just players," reflecting their commitment to community protection. One cold morning, the boy received an unexpected letter. It was from a police department in another state, thanking him for his actions. His video evidence had helped them solve a similar case in their jurisdiction. The letter contained a junior deputy badge and a note that read, "Sometimes the smallest actions create the biggest changes." The little girl's father's safety app gained attention from child protection organizations. Working with tech experts and child psychologists, he refined it to include features suggested by children themselves. The boy's input proved particularly valuable. He suggested adding a feature that would allow kids to discreetly alert trusted adults if something felt wrong, without drawing attention to themselves. The grandfather's mentoring program expanded to include active duty officers who volunteered their off-duty time. They created scenarios based on real situations, teaching children how to trust their instincts and respond appropriately to potential dangers. The program became so successful that neighboring districts began requesting similar initiatives. Winter school activities took on new meaning that year. The annual science fair featured several projects focused on community safety, including an 8th grader's analysis of the most effective emergency response systems. The boy served as a guest judge, impressing teachers with his thoughtful questions about how each project might help protect others. Local media continued to follow the story's developments, but their focus shifted from the initial incident to the positive changes it had sparked. They documented how the community had transformed its fear into action, creating stronger bonds and better safety networks. One reporter noted that emergency response times in the area had improved significantly due to increased community vigilance and cooperation. The investigation's scope continued to widen. Analysis of the suspect's computer revealed connections to similar incidents in 5 different states. The boy's video evidence proved crucial in establishing patterns that might have otherwise gone unnoticed. Law enforcement agencies began using the case as a training example of how civilian awareness and quick thinking could support their work. At home, the boy's family noticed subtle but significant changes in their daily routines. They spent more time talking about their days, sharing concerns and celebrations alike. His parents observed how their son had matured, showing a deeper understanding of responsibility while maintaining his youthful spirit. His younger siblings looked up to him not just as a brother, but as a protector. The community's transformation caught the attention of urban planners and social scientists. They studied how one incident had catalyzed such significant positive changes in community dynamics. Their findings emphasized the importance of empowering young people and creating networks of trust between generations. As spring approached, the case that had begun with one boy's alertness reached a significant milestone. In a coordinated effort across multiple states, law enforcement agencies announced a major breakthrough. The evidence trail that started with the boy's video had led to the identification and location of a broader network of individuals involved in similar activities. The boy's school had transformed in ways no one could have predicted. What began as a response to a potential tragedy had evolved into a model of student empowerment and community engagement. The Watch and Care program, inspired by the boy's actions, had spread to dozens of schools across the state. Students were taught not just to be alert, but to understand the difference between awareness and fear. On a warm Saturday morning, the little girl's family organized a community picnic in the park. The event, which they called Guardians Day, brought together families, law enforcement, and local organizations to celebrate their strengthened community bonds. Children flew kites decorated with safety messages, while parents and community leaders discussed ways to further improve neighborhood security. The boy's grandfather, now a familiar figure in the community, had become something of a local legend. His safety workshops had evolved into a comprehensive program that combined traditional wisdom with modern technology. In my day, he would often say, we relied on knowing our neighbors. Now we have all these tools to help us, but that human connection is still the most important part. Local businesses reported an unexpected benefit from the enhanced community awareness. The Safe House network had created a more connected business community, with shop owners looking out for each other as well as the children. The hardware store owner noted that crime rates had dropped significantly since the program's implementation. The police department's youth liaison officer started a podcast series featuring stories of community heroes, beginning with The Boy's Story. The series emphasized how ordinary people, especially young people, could make extraordinary differences in their communities. Each episode ended with practical safety tips and ways to build stronger neighborhood connections. Spring sports season brought new opportunities for community building. The boys' baseball team organized a special tournament where each team represented a different aspect of community safety. They called it the Guardian Games, and it quickly became a popular annual event. Teams competed not just in baseball, but in safety knowledge and community service projects. The little girl, continuing her journey of healing, started a school club called Brave Hearts. The club focused on helping students feel confident in speaking up when something didn't feel right. She often shared her story, emphasizing how the boys' intervention had taught her that heroes could be found among their own classmates. Technology played an increasingly important role in the community's safety network. The safety app developed by the little girl's father had been downloaded thousands of times across the country. Regular updates incorporated suggestions from users, making it more effective and user-friendly. The boys' original idea for discreet alerting had become one of its most praised features. The investigation's progress revealed something remarkable about community vigilance. In areas where the story had spread and similar safety measures had been implemented, attempted incidents had decreased dramatically. Law enforcement officials attributed this not just to increased security measures, but to the heightened awareness and community engagement that the boys' actions had inspired. Local artists collaborated with students to create a series of murals around town, each depicting different aspects of community safety and unity. One particular mural, painted on the wall of the baseball field, showed a diverse group of young people standing together, representing the power of collective awareness and protection. The boys' family noticed how their daily routines had permanently changed. Family dinners became a time for sharing observations and discussing ways to help others. His parents observed that their son's actions had not only made the community safer but had brought them closer together as a family. They started a tradition of Safety Sunday dinners, where neighbors would gather to share meals and strengthen community bonds. Educational experts began studying what they called the ripple effect of the incident. They found that schools that had implemented similar awareness programs saw improvements not just in safety metrics, but in academic performance and student well-being. The sense of security and community support had created an environment where students felt more confident and focused. The Grandfathers Mentoring Program received national recognition for its innovative approach to community safety. Combining the wisdom of experienced law enforcement with the energy and insights of young people had created a powerful model for other communities to follow. The program emphasized that safety was not just about preventing danger, but about building stronger, more connected neighborhoods. Spring also brought a special ceremony at City Hall, where various community members were recognized for their contributions to public safety. The boy, still humble about his role, was asked to speak about the importance of staying alert and taking action. His simple message resonated deeply: we all have the power to help keep each other safe, sometimes just by paying attention and being brave enough to speak up. As summer approached, the ripple effects of that fateful day continued to spread in unexpected ways. The case had become a watershed moment in community safety, studied by law enforcement agencies and social organizations across the country. What began with one boy's alertness had evolved into a movement that was changing how communities approached child protection. The investigation had led to a groundbreaking development. Investigators discovered that the suspect's methods had exposed vulnerabilities in school safety protocols that no one had previously identified. This revelation led to a comprehensive review of safety measures in schools nationwide. The boys' video evidence had not only helped solve a case but had sparked a national conversation about modernizing child protection strategies. One warm evening, as fireflies began to appear in the neighborhood gardens, the local community center hosted a special event. Child safety experts from across the country gathered to share knowledge and learn from what this small community had accomplished. The boy, sitting quietly in the audience with his grandfather, listened as speakers described how his actions had influenced their own safety programs. The little girl's story had taken an inspiring turn. With support from her parents and counselors, she had started speaking at elementary schools about personal safety. Her message was simple but powerful: being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means doing the right thing even when you're scared. Her talks always included a special mention of the boy who had watched out for a stranger that day. The baseball season was drawing to a close, but its impact continued. The team's Guardian Games concept had been adopted by youth sports leagues in neighboring states. Teams now incorporated safety awareness into their regular practice routines, creating a generation of young athletes who understood that their strength could be used to protect others. The boy's grandfather had expanded his mentoring program into something extraordinary. Working with local universities, he developed a curriculum that bridged the gap between traditional neighborhood watch programs and modern digital safety measures. The best security system, he would tell his students, is a community that truly cares for each other. Local businesses reported an unprecedented level of community engagement. The Safe House network had grown to include over 200 locations across the county. Shop owners noticed that children felt more confident walking to and from school, knowing they had safe spaces along their route. The program had transformed local businesses from mere stores into community guardians. The police department's youth liaison office had become a model for other cities. They created a junior safety council, where students from different schools could share ideas about improving community security. The boy served as an honorary advisor, bringing his unique perspective to their monthly meetings. His simple observation that safety looks different through kids' eyes had changed how the department approached youth outreach. Technology continued to play a crucial role in the community's transformation. The Safety app, now in its third version, had added features that allowed communities to create their own safety networks. The boy's suggestion for discreet alerting had evolved into a sophisticated system that helped children feel secure without feeling scared. Summer brought a special recognition from the state governor's office. The community was designated as a model safety zone, and their programs were recommended for implementation across the state. What made their approach unique was its emphasis on empowerment rather than fear, teaching children to be aware without being afraid. The little girl's art therapy program had grown into something beautiful. Her drawings, along with those of other children, were featured in a traveling exhibition called Through Their Eyes. The exhibition helped adults understand how children viewed safety and community protection, leading to more effective safety programs in other cities. The boy's family had noticed lasting changes in their neighborhood. Front porches that had once been empty were now gathering places for families. Children played freely, watched over by a network of caring neighbors. The community had found the perfect balance between vigilance and joy, proving that safety didn't have to come at the cost of childhood freedom. Educational researchers studying the community's transformation made an interesting discovery. Schools that had adopted their safety awareness program showed improved academic performance and decreased behavioral issues. Students felt more secure, leading to better focus and participation in class. The boys' actions had inadvertently created a model for improving overall school climate. The investigation's success had led to the creation of a specialized task force that focused on preventing similar incidents nationwide. They used the lessons learned from this case to develop better prevention strategies and response protocols. The boys' video evidence had shown them the importance of combining community awareness with quick action. As summer progressed, the community center became a hub for safety innovation. They hosted workshops where children and adults worked together to identify potential safety concerns and develop solutions. One particularly successful initiative was the Safety Buddy program, where older students were trained to help younger ones navigate their daily routines safely. As summer faded into early autumn, marking almost a year since the incident that changed everything, the community gathered for a special anniversary event. The local park, now transformed with better lighting and security features, hosted a Community Guardian Day celebration. It was a time to reflect on how one boy's awareness had sparked a movement that continued to grow beyond their small town. The investigation had reached a significant milestone. The collaborative efforts across multiple states had led to the creation of a new national database for tracking and preventing similar incidents. Law enforcement officials credited the thorough documentation from the boys' video as the catalyst that helped them understand how to better protect communities. In the school district, the changes were profound and lasting. The awareness programs had evolved into a comprehensive curriculum that other schools were now adopting. Teachers reported that students showed increased empathy and responsibility toward one another. The boys' former principal noted that disciplinary incidents had dropped by more than 60% since the new programs began. The little girl, now a year older and more confident, had become an inspiration in her own right. Her Brave Hearts Club had chapters in 20 different schools. During the anniversary celebration, she stood before the crowd and spoke about courage. "Sometimes the bravest thing isn't fighting bad guys," she said, "it's speaking up when something doesn't feel right." The boys' baseball team had transformed their sport into a vehicle for positive change. Their Guardian Games concept had been featured in a national sports magazine, highlighting how athletic programs could build both physical skills and community awareness. Teams across the country were now incorporating safety awareness into their training routines. The Grandfather's Mentoring Program had grown beyond anyone's expectations. Working with law enforcement agencies and child safety experts, he had developed a comprehensive training system that bridged generational gaps. "The world changes," he would say, "but the importance of looking out for each other remains the same." Local businesses had seen remarkable changes in community dynamics. The Safe House network had become a model for other cities, showing how commercial areas could contribute to community safety without becoming fortresses. Shop owners reported that their businesses had become natural gathering spots where children felt secure and parents felt reassured. The police department's approach to community safety had undergone a complete transformation. Their youth liaison program, inspired by the incident, had become a national model. Officers now received specialized training in working with young people, understanding that building trust was as important as maintaining security. Technology played an increasingly vital role in the community's safety network. The Safety app, which started as a simple idea, had evolved into a sophisticated platform used by schools and communities nationwide. The boys' initial suggestion for discreet alerting had become a standard feature in safety applications across the country. The investigation's impact continued to reveal itself in unexpected ways. Law enforcement agencies had used the lessons learned to develop new training protocols for their officers. The emphasis shifted from reactive response to proactive community engagement, with a special focus on empowering young people to be aware and involved. Educational experts studying the community's transformation discovered something remarkable. Schools that implemented similar safety awareness programs reported not just improved security, but better academic performance and student well-being. The sense of safety and community support had created an environment where learning could flourish. The little girl's art therapy program had expanded into a nationwide initiative. Her original drawings, along with those of other children, were now used in training programs for counselors and child safety experts. The simple honesty of children's artwork helped adults understand how young people viewed safety and security. The community center had become a hub for innovation in safety education. Regular workshops brought together people of all ages to discuss and develop new safety initiatives. One popular program, called Future Guardians, helped young people develop leadership skills while learning about community protection. The boys' family noticed how their role in the community had evolved. Their home had become a gathering place where neighbors felt comfortable discussing concerns and sharing ideas. Regular, Safety Sunday dinners had grown into community events where people could strengthen bonds while working together to keep their neighborhood secure. As the anniversary celebration continued into the evening, with families gathering under the new park lights, the boy reflected on how much had changed. His simple act of awareness had sparked a movement that continued to grow and evolve. The community had proven that safety didn't have to come at the cost of freedom or joy. Instead, it could bring people closer together. On a seemingly ordinary Tuesday afternoon in a quiet suburban neighborhood, 11-year-old Alex was riding his bike home from baseball practice. The late summer sun cast long shadows across the tree-lined streets as he pedaled, his mind wandering to the homework waiting for him at home. Little did he know that this mundane afternoon would transform into a moment that would change multiple lives forever. As he turned onto Cedar Street, something caught his attention. A small girl, probably around 6 years old, was walking on the sidewalk ahead of him. What made Alex slow down his bike wasn't the girl herself, but rather the way a dark blue van was crawling along beside her. The vehicle moved at an unusually slow pace, matching the child's walking speed. Alex had attended enough safety assemblies at school to know this wasn't normal behavior. His heart began to race as he watched the van's side door slide open. A man in a dark hoodie leaned out, reaching toward the little girl. Without hesitation, Alex did something that would later be described by police as extraordinarily brave for someone his age. He dropped his bike and started shouting at the top of his lungs, "Help! Stranger danger! Someone help!" His loud cries caught the attention of Mrs. Chen, who was watering her front garden nearby. She immediately pulled out her phone to call 911. The would-be abductor, startled by the sudden commotion, quickly retreated into the van, which sped away, tires screeching against the asphalt. The little girl, who turned out to be named Amy, stood frozen on the sidewalk, clutching her pink backpack. She hadn't fully understood what was happening until that moment. Alex ran to her, keeping a respectful distance as Mrs. Chen hurried over. Together, they waited with Amy until the police arrived just minutes later. What happened next was a whirlwind of activity. Police cars filled the street as officers took statements from everyone involved. Alex described the van in detail, remembering not only its color but also a distinctive dent on the passenger side door, a detail that would prove crucial in the investigation that followed. Local police praised Alex's quick thinking and courage. Most kids might have frozen or simply rode away, Officer Rodriguez explained during a press conference the next day. But this young man's actions prevented what could have been a tragic outcome. Meanwhile, Amy's parents arrived at the scene, tears streaming down their faces as they hugged their daughter. Her father, overcome with emotion, couldn't stop thanking Alex. "You're our guardian angel," he said, his voice breaking. "We can never repay you for what you've done." The story quickly spread throughout the community, inspiring discussions about child safety and the importance of teaching kids to be aware of their surroundings. Local schools invited safety experts to give special presentations, using Alex's story as an example of how being alert and taking action can make a difference. 3 days later, thanks to Alex's detailed description and footage from nearby security cameras, police located and arrested the suspect. The man turned out to be connected to several other attempted abductions in neighboring counties. Alex's intervention hadn't just saved Amy, it had helped law enforcement catch someone who had been terrorizing communities for months. The local newspaper ran a front-page story about Alex's heroism, but the young boy remained humble. "I just did what anyone would do," he told reporters. "We learned in school that if something doesn't look right, we should speak up. I'm just glad Amy is safe." The incident sparked a movement in the community. Parents organized a neighborhood watch program, and the city council approved funding for additional security cameras in public areas. Alex's actions had not only saved a life but had also brought the community closer together, making everyone more vigilant and protective of their children. In the months that followed, Alex received several awards for his bravery, including a special citation from the mayor and a Citizen's Heroism Award from the police department. But for him, the real reward was seeing Amy return to being a normal, happy kid, playing in her front yard without fear. "Sometimes the biggest heroes come in the smallest packages," the police chief said during the award ceremony. Alex showed us that age doesn't matter when it comes to doing the right thing. His courage reminds us that we all have the power to make a difference in someone's life. The story of the boy who saved a young girl from abduction continues to inspire people across the country. It serves as a powerful reminder that ordinary people, even children, can demonstrate extraordinary courage when faced with challenging situations. Alex's quick thinking and brave actions not only prevented a tragedy but also helped make his community a safer place for everyone.